Welcome to the second video in our series. In this video we're going to review the material, operator, and machine scheduling in real time. As we mentioned in the first video, the quote is used to determine how we schedule all of the jobs through the plant and any special notes with regard to the quote on how we envision the job to run that we want the operators to have on hand as opposed to taking time to ask questions. In order to complete that, if you recall from the first video, we could put material, what types of material we were going to use for the material, the cost of that material, first steps, second steps, and the times and whatnot. And then in order to complete that, we need to answer the following questions as well. Is this the first operation sequence? If it is, we put yes. If it's not, we leave it blank. The machine number, we're in machine number 1. The next operation we decided to choose was 4 in this case, and the prior operation is again 1. Operator move time, if we're going to allow operators a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you decide, when they have to move from machine to complete jobs, do you want to utilize that 2 minutes in this case to allow them for that movement? So what it's going to do is you'll have a start time of say 6 a.m. We won't start tracking the time until 6:02. So they have that time that doesn't go against the elapsed time of the job. If you want to put that in, we put it in here. If you don't, you leave it blank. Setup time in minutes, we put that here, and again, any notes you want to put in here, like any other operation, you can do that. And remove setup. The reason we split it up is because in certain cases, if you're running more than one shift, or a job starts a day and doesn't finish until the next day, the setup can go into one shift and the setup removal into the other shift, and it won't affect your efficiency as much as if you left it all blended together. And then last but not least, we put in the customer name here and the part number here. This is the process map screen, and basically everything that we put into our quote you see right here. So we look down through it quickly. We can put our shipping information in there. Whatever we want to put on here, you can go ahead and put in. It goes all the way across to take up all the 10 run times. And out on a 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. Obviously the more you have, the more sheets of paper you'll have, but in this particular case, this would just print out on one document. This is the material status screen. Basically what this is, giving you some basic information on what your customer has ordered. But most of all, what it's allowing us to do is determine if we have the necessary materials in stock, and if we've got them to a point where we can pull them for a start time of 6 a.m. on 9/12 for production, then we put a Y in this particular column. And then as you'll see as we move along, this Y shows up on all the other production scheduling screen and the material availability screen so that everybody knows that we do have the stock. No one has to check or recheck again. That's what this screen is for. And also, if you see any voids in here, they'll show up on the production schedule, and it keeps it in front of everybody, so you don't have to keep reviewing things or having, discussing it at meeting where we are with this, where we are with that. And that's really what the material status screen does. This screen is a part of each of the 30 machine screens, so that we just scroll back to the left where we can go ahead and begin to schedule our job. This is the machine screen for the machine number 1. Again, you see the name here. It came off the setup page, so however we set that up, if you change a name, they're all going to change on all of these screens. And basically what we have is, if you recall from the process map portion, we entered the customer name and the part number so that it pulls up, so that when you add your part number, you realize that it's pulling up the right part number for you and the right customer as well. This is the maintenance alarm screen, which we're gonna discuss in the next video. But what it does is when these are green, there's no maintenance that's scheduled for this machine at this particular time. When any maintenance is scheduled, numbers representing minutes will appear in these 3 cells, and this cell will turn yellow, and then the closer it gets to needing maintenance, it'll turn orange. Once it goes over the allotted amount of time, elapsed time for maintenance, it turns red. It allows you to schedule in real time your maintenance so that the next customer order you schedule is after the maintenance, so it doesn't affect your delivery dates. In this portion of the screen up here is the path that we chose. If you remember from the first video, we said that we were going to use machines 1 or 2 and 4, and then we were going to move into shipping. This is on the top of every machine screen. So when we go from machine 1 and then it tells us to go to screen 4 and we move to screen 4, we're looking at the same information. So it makes it very easy to just go from screen to screen and schedule your machine. The next thing we're going to look at right now is operator scheduling in real time. How do we know when an operator is going to be available to run a machine. Just because the machine's available, if we only have 20 operators and 30 machines, we need to know when can an operator get to that machine, or vice versa. So let's take a look at that. This is the operator availability screen. It shows us our part number that we've selected up here. Down here is all of the names that we put in the operation setup screen appear in this column right here. And then basically this system is set up for 30 machines, and we put in what machines each operator is qualified to run, being machine numbers 1, 2, 3, so on until we get to 30. And then basically what we're going to do is we're looking for up here, it's telling us the next operation sequence, which is 1, then 4, then 100. It's also telling us that we can use machines 1 or we can use machines 2. I'm not going to go through each of the machine selection just to save time in the video. I just want to show you how the system works and how simple it is and how effective it is. So we're going to look at machine number 1. Okay, machine number 1, it lights up red right here, because as you scroll across to look for operators, the red shows up so you know what machine you're at. And then qualified for this machine, and it says that number 1 and number 3 are qualified. So let's look at number 3. Okay, number 3 is busy until 9:13 at 11:16 a.m. Our job is starting on 9:13 at 6:40 a.m. is the next available start time for machine number 1. So let's look at the other person was, I think, number 1. Yeah, it was. So let's check number 1. 6:40. Oh, number 1, he was running that machine anyway, or she, whoever it was, Tom, I guess, Tom Jones. He's available the soonest of those two. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to say that we want to use number 1. And then if we go to machine 4, it just repeats. Okay, we're going to go to machine 4. It's going to say that we can use either 2 or 20. If we scroll down to 4, it's telling us that we have a 1:54 p.m. and 2 is on that one, so let's just go with 2. Okay, so now if we go back to our machine screen, those numbers are going to appear at the top and tell us to schedule those operators. So we're back in the first machine screen, and it says operator 1. Start time for machine number 1 is 6:40 a.m. on 9/13. And if we move to machine 2, we see its available start time is 9:45 a.m. And let's check out the last process, machine 4. It can't start on anything until 1:06. So either machines 1 or machines 2 would work in this case. So we're just going to go with machine 1. And again, all we're going to do is we're going to enter the part number dash machine number, just like it says right here. And cell, we enter, just as it says up here, a 1. This information is all going to come from your customer and your sales order, so I'm not going to bother typing that in while you watch, take up your time. And we see that the job is going to start at 6:40 a.m. If you recall, we have a 15-minute break at 10, and this job is going to run from 6:40 a.m. to 10:32. Okay, if we take that out, then the job would end sooner at 10:17. But we have that 15-minute break that we talked about in the operation setup screen, if you recall, in the first video. So we put that in, and it moves that next available start time for machine 1 out to 10:32. If we look back up on top here now, our next machine in the sequence is machine number 4. So to make things a little quicker, we're just going to grab this data from the sales order, and we're going to copy it, and we're going to go to machine number 4, and we're going to paste it in. Okay, interestingly enough, we see that the machine column and the start time have turned red. And what that means is that we've scheduled the wrong machine for the wrong machine schedule. So if we change the 1 to a 4, the red goes away, and we know that we've scheduled the right machine and the right machine screen. We need to change our operator to operator number 2. And then our next step is shipping, which is 100. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to grab this data. I'm going to copy it. Go to the shipping screen. I'm going to paste it in. In the shipping screen, we look up here and we see last process end time. And so really what we want to do is we want to let the people in shipping know when those parts from machine 4 are going to be coming into the shipping area so they can be prepared for them. So in order to schedule it, we hit the equal sign, we move back to machine 4, and we hit the end time for that process. Assume that it's first thing in the morning, and the first thing we need to get to the boss is what are we going to be shipping today, because they're going to want to know that as soon as they hit the door. So we look at our scheduled end times in the shipping department, and we see that we've got the first 3 jobs are going to ship on the 11th, and then there's nothing else until the 12th. So we go over here where it says if the processes are complete, we're going to have those finished today, so we're going to put those in. Okay, those are the jobs that are going to be shipping today. Now after we've entered what is going to be shipping today in the from the shipping schedule, we move to the production schedule screen.